So, do you want to know what true power is? Because most people, they really don't know. True power is I am an eternal being. I never stop existing. And no matter what happens to me, it will benefit me. I will learn, I will grow, it will better me. And so, what is that? It's called unconditional happiness, satisfaction, contentment, security, fulfillment. All of those things, fulfillment, etc., without the conditions. Because what is happiness? People try to quantify it. What is happiness? It's something that you have to decide to be. It's not something you're ever gonna find outside of you. You're not gonna find it in a relationship. You're not gonna find it in a job. You're not gonna find it in a house. You're not gonna find it in a fulfilling career. You're not gonna find it anywhere except for right here. Yet, so many people are not practicing their true power. They're very conditional with their happiness. If someone's behaving in a way that, isn't agreeable to them, suddenly they take their happiness and they throw it in the trash and they're like, "You there, I'm blaming you for this. I'm putting all my upsetness on you because I'm the one who decided to be upset and throw away my happiness and my contentment because you were doing something I didn't like, or this situation happened and I didn't like that." So it's a very conditional, it's very codependent on the situation. You're only going to be happy when everything is rightfully in its little place. And don't you see the completely futile nature of that? So with that, what I'm here to teach you today is really transmuting negative energy. And that's really the big part of it, because if you want to manifest the life of your dreams, it's not about doing anything. You don't need to go, "Oh, how do I manifest?" No, that's not it. You need to get out of your own way. You need to stop being so consistently negative. You need to stop with the belief systems. I'm not good enough. This won't happen. I can't do this. I can't do that. They won't like this. They won't like that. If it feels bad, it's an alert that it's not serving you, it's not true, and you are disconnecting from your higher self. You are disconnecting from what you are manifesting. You're deliberately choosing to not manifest it, because you want this thing, and you're denying yourself from it. Your higher self is getting the thing that you want, and the reason why it feels like negative emotion is because you're not letting yourself have it. But that's the thing, is I don't have it because it's not here physically in my face. Well, you're gonna have to just be okay with the feeling of it, because that's what manifests, is energy, feeling, emotion. If you're sitting there and you're like, "I'm not gonna feel happy until I get the thing," well, you're not gonna get the thing because you're not vibrating in the frequency of having the thing. Because if you had the thing, you would be happy. And so you would be in the frequency of having the thing because you have the thing, right? So if you don't have the thing and you continue to tell that story and feel the emotions that come with not having the thing, you're gonna get more of that. You're never gonna get the thing. Do you see how common sense and logical it really kind of seems? So transmuting negative energy. Firstly, it comes with not labeling anything in your reality as negative. And there is a difference from, neutrally observing a negative thing. Obviously, there's, things that are negative, but the difference is that you're not taking it personally because it doesn't have anything to do with you, so therefore you are in a neutral energy when you're observing it and labeling it as negative. Keyword neutral. It's not judgment. It's not condemnation. It's not, "Oh, they got what was coming to them." No, it's neutral. However, when you label something as negative, and it's the resistance that you're applying, the "I don't want to be here, I don't want this to happen, I don't want this, I want to get away from it, I'm trying to push it away, I am resisting it, I don't like it." All of that resistance and pushing against, that's really, really where you're shooting yourself in the foot. And that's because you are invalidating it. You're invalidating the now. And here's like I guess you could say a rule, if you will, kind of life. And that is that at all times, because now is the only time there is, everything that is happening right now is happening perfectly as it needs to be. It's like the perfect thing that you need to give your focus to in order to move forward on to the next step, closer to what you're manifesting or whatever. And that's because when you do that, you're validating the now. If you're invalidating the now, you're pushing against, you're resisting, you're like, I don't like this, that is negative, that is bad, I don't like it, and I hate it. And when you invalidate what's going on, what you're saying is, I invalidate myself for having created this. You really gotta watch your definitions. If something unexpected happens and you label it as, oh, since this happened, that must mean that I did something wrong, or something went wrong. Well, I mean, that's what you're gonna get. You're putting it out, so you're getting it back. Something's gonna go wrong because you're putting it out. So when you start actually allowing what is happening to happen, you just let it be, you actually give it the best opportunity for you to move forward. A key takeaway here is to make it exciting that things happen that you don't like. And that's easier said than done in some circumstances. Sometimes it's like, okay, whatever, right? Bad thing, I can, whatever, brush it off, right? And other times, our bigger triggers really get to us. And then, these belief systems, they come right up and they do everything in their power to get you to drop back into the negative state and to tell the stories and to justify why you're feeling anger or sadness or this negative emotion, and why you keep needing to be there, to justify why you have to stay there and focus on that and tell that story. But the reason why you want to make it exciting that things happen that you don't like is why? Well, because, like I said, it's perfect. It's the perfect thing you need right now to advance. It's like when you are playing Mario and you get the star that turns him all flashy and invincible, and he's like, like that part. That's what's happening. You are given this opportunity, but the thing is, it's like you can take that star, that upgrade, and you can resist it. You can push against it, and you're like, I don't like this. Or you can take it for what it is as an upgrade, because that's what it is. Once you look at and identify the belief systems that are generating this emotion, that are generating this circumstance, then you can let go of them. Because once you see them, you see that they're illogical, they don't make sense, and they are not true. Like the I'm not good enough. Well, that's not fucking true. You are good enough. Abso-fucking-lutely. You deserve everything that you want. 100%. So when you actually can identify those belief systems and let them go in this prime opportune moment of when they are activated and in your face, then you can move forward in your life and you can be such a better person, you can be happier, you can be more fulfilled, and you can be more content, because once you have used up the reason, listen to that, used it up, the reason for that negative thing to be there, because it's there for a reason. Like I said, everything that's happening now is perfect. It's meant to be. It's for a reason. It's there for you to be here. And when you try to get away from it all, that's when you hold on to it and you make it continue to stay, because you might be trying to get away from it, but it is still part of your focus. So stay in that positive state and use the negative situation. Use it up. Use up its reason for being there. And its reason for being there is because you are creating it. Remember, this is a dream. This is a dream you're in, okay? All of this is an illusion. And what I mean by that is you are the universe. You're not in the universe, you are the universe. You're not some energy inside of a body. Nope. All of this is happening inside of your head. You are, in a sense, asleep right now in the spirit realm, dreaming that you're living this physical 3D life. This is a dream happening in your head. So that what that means is you are the only one creating everything around you. Everyone is creating their own reality. You're the only one in your reality, and you're 100% responsible for everything in it. Not necessarily what other people do, but you are responsible for what's in your life because you're the one who has been creating it. You're manifesting at all times. Everything you have so far has been manifested. So what that means is, and the point that I'm getting to now, is that the universe, or you, in other words, it's always going to support you. And people think that means like a positive thing, and it does, but it's more of a neutral thing. It always supports you. And what that means is it's your belief systems. If you believe that you're not good enough, then it's going to lovingly support that belief, and it's going to show you example after example after example of how you're not good enough. So it's going to support you fully, just like a mirror. That's why everyone refers to it as a mirror. Everything is a reflection in the most literal sense possible. This is not a figurative. This is not a metaphor. It's literal. Everything is a mirror. And so it's reflecting back to you what you are putting out. See, the thing is that you cannot experience negativity if you are in the energy of passion. So if you're experiencing negativity, that most likely means that you are, you're a vibration. It does mean that you're a vibrational match to it. It means that you kind of, attracted it. So it's kind of like, okay, well, if this is happening, I don't need to take responsibility for others' actions, but I do need to take responsibility for the fact that I am perceiving something that I label as negative. So first of all, let's not label it as negative, because it's cropping up for me to identify something going on in here. So first of all, it's not negative. And second of all, if I'm a vibrational match to this thing, that means I attracted it. So let's go ahead and see what I was putting out, what belief system I had, what story I was telling, what I was focusing on, what I was getting annoyed at, or whatever that might have drawn this into my experience. And then let's let it go. Because, I don't know, what is it? Like maybe you get annoyed at someone. Well, what belief system is generating that? That maybe you've been inconvenienced, that you lost a bit of your time, that, I don't know, something like that. Well, none of that is true, because time is infinite, and you're the only one who can take from you or do anything to you. And so this is why, true power resides in, no matter what happens, I'm good. It's that unconditional happiness, positivity, contentment. Because the positivity is what transforms your life. It's what allows you to not have to continuously experience negative situations. Because remember, the negativity is what cements it into your reality. It's you pushing it against. It's like a spring. You push it away and it comes right back. But if you just relax, just let it go, whatever, nothing is chill. It'll dissipate. Because why? You used up the reason for it being there. And also because you're in a positive state. So if you're in a positive state, you don't experience negativity. It's like when you're watching TV, you're watching, I don't know, Disney Channel, you can't see Cartoon Network because you're not on the channel that Cartoon Network is broadcasting on. So if you're tuned to the channel of positivity and passion, you're not going to receive the frequency from the channels of negativity and depression and etc., right? Obviously we jump around, we jump back and forth, and that's why it's like when you jump back into that negativity, it's a beautiful thing. It's like, yay, yes, I get to investigate this belief system that's holding me back from the life of my dreams. It's holding me back from my happiness, and I'm using it as an excuse, a sorry-ass excuse, to not be who I really am and to not let myself be contented or fulfilled. And this positive reaction thing, again, applies to people, negative people. When people do things perceivably to you, a negative thing, most people are like, oh, I'm not gonna take that. I gotta get them back. I gotta, an eye for an eye, right? Gotta make sure that they're held accountable. Gotta make sure justice is served. Gotta make sure that they're punished, right? Like, I get it, okay? I've been there. I understand. I get it. But when you really look at it like that, it's so stupid. It's so juvenile. It's so like just lack of power. It's so not cash money. Like, so, you know, someone's negative to you. What do? You say thank you so much, because what they were doing is lovingly showing you that you still had something inside of you that was holding you back from such an ecstatic life of fulfillment and you know, love and joy and everything. They're coming up to you right now. They're like, hey, here's that thing you need to let go of to get to where you want to be. You're always wanting to be there. You're always talking about manifesting. You're always wanting to be there. You're always going on and on about all these things you want. Here's your golden ticket right here. But so many of us are like holding on to the belief systems that say like, oh, when someone disrespects me, I have to get back at them. I have to hold them accountable. Or like, if someone disrespects me, then other people see me as lesser or weak or incapable, and or, you know, when them disrespecting me is gonna lead to an unfavorable outcome for me in whatever situation or in life in general or whatever. Like, all of those belief systems are what's generating the reaction of negative lashing out. It's because you think you're in a bad spot, but you're not. You're in a golden spot. You're getting handed Charlie's golden ticket to his factory, his chocolate factory. You know, the one that millions of people want all around the world. Like, that's what the feeling you want to have. Another cool mind bender to really kind of consider is that, you know, you're the only one in your reality. You're the only one. Everyone else does exist. Everyone else is their own person, but they're in their own reality. And what you are interacting with is your created version of them, you know, which is, you know, try this out, you know, like friends or family or acquaintances, whatever, you know, if you label someone as a certain thing, you're going to get more of that out of them. If you see them as a problem person, you're going to get that out of them. If, you know, so try it. Try being like, okay, this person has these positive qualities when you used to view them as maybe negative, and see how they change, but actually believe it. Because if you don't actually believe it, it's not going to happen. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Like, these other people are your created versions of them. So it's essentially you. It's just you. When you're talking to other people, you're talking to yourself. If you're in a room with a bunch of people, you're in the room with yourself, and you are the room. Everything is you. So what that means is when you, in a negative way, not in a neutral way, label someone else as negative, or what they are doing to you is a negative thing, you're basically just in agreement with yourself that this is what's happening. This negative thing is what's happening. You're like, I'm gonna create this negative scenario for myself, and yep, that's what's happening to me. This is my life. This is who I am. Yep, I create this. Obviously, people don't realize I create this, but that's what you're doing. And again, back to that positivity, that kind of golden ticket mentality, right? You are using them as a reflection to reflect back to you the belief systems that you're still holding on to, that are holding you back. It's all a reflection. It's all a mirror, baby. So what do you say? You say, thank you. Thank you for showing me that I wasn't loving all of myself. That's power. Power. And I mean power. Not, oh, they did this to me and how dare they, and oh, we gotta do something about this. We gotta get back at them and talk about how bad they are, and we gotta tell everyone in our social group how wronged we were, and we gotta make sure everyone knows that they did this wrong thing and that they're a bad person. We gotta make sure they all know. No, that's not power. What does that feel like? When you go into that, what does it feel like? Are you paying attention to your emotions? What does it feel like? Other than annoyance, what does it feel like? Does it feel like exhilaration? Or does it feel like stagnation? Does it feel like happiness and contentment and ecstasy? Or does it feel like like bogged down and muddy and like foggy and kind of just like slow and like just not happy, not fun? Well, obviously it feels like that. There's only two sides. You're either happy or you're not, and you could be neutral. Okay, so there's three, but there's just nuanced versions of sad and there's nuanced versions of happy. You know, like, people don't want to pay attention to the fact that when they complain about things and they talk and talk and talk about these things that they don't like, that it doesn't feel good at all. It doesn't. It's like they don't really realize it, or maybe they don't realize, maybe they do, but not on a conscious level, and maybe they don't realize that it's, you know, them shooting themselves in the foot, essentially. Yet we still want to do it. We still want to. Because why? Most likely there's, again, it's a belief system. That's the only thing that ever generates emotions. So there's a belief system, like, me talking about this to other people is going to bring me ease. Me letting off steam makes me feel better. Does it though? I don't think so. And if you're saying yes, I would reconsider. I'm not gonna say you should believe what I believe, but maybe think a little bit differently. Yeah, venting and telling stories, articulating, talking about, all of that is not how you bring ease. You can move up the emotional scale. Like if you're depressed, you can move up to anger and so on, because anger feels better than depression, which is why anger feels so self-righteous when it's like, oh, fight the system. That's why it feels so powerful and righteous. It's not actual power, because fighting, again, is pushing against and resistance and not who you really are. But it does feel better than depression, and it feels so much better than fear. And so many people have been living nothing but fear and depression. And that's why, when they get all riled up, they feel self-justified, and it feels great to be, pushing against, even though that's not really the answer. The only marker of change is if you changed, not if the outside has changed. Because, if the outside cannot change unless you do. That's why it's a mirror. It literally can't. It's just impossible. You can't go up to a mirror and demand that it smiles when you're not smiling. So if you think you've changed and the situation comes up, again, the old situation, you react in a negative way like you used to, you haven't changed. You haven't. And don't judge yourself for that. It's not a judgment. Don't, beat up on yourself because you're not perfect yet. Don't do that. That's double wrong to do that. But you haven't changed. So that's why these opportunities are so amazing, because it's like, okay, now I get to see, have I really changed? And if I haven't, well, here's a great moment to, work towards that, to let go of it. And when you change, the people change, the circumstances change. They do, but not when you're like, oh, why isn't it changing? I'm changing, but it's not changing. Well, if it's not changing, you're not changed. You can tell what you're ready for by what's coming to you. I think, the reason why so many people don't do this, not only because they don't have the proper tools to do it, but, they just don't know, but it's also like, we are very much afraid to investigate a negative belief system about ourselves, because we are afraid that it might be true. If someone calls you a dummy head, a silly face, you're not going to react. But if someone calls you, you're addicted to this, or you have this problem feature, like you're an angry person all the time, or whatever, right? You might identify with it, and then you get upset because you're identifying with it, because you think it might be true, but it's not. It's not true. But you're afraid to investigate the possibility of either way, because you're afraid it's true. So I'm gonna leave you with this last little mantra here. Circumstances do not matter. Only state of being matters. Okay, say it with me. Circumstances do not matter. Only state of being matters. So integrate that. Embody that unconditional contentment and safety, security, satisfaction. You're an eternal being. Who cares what happens to you?